Core. Yeah, and I'm just gonna mute everybody and welcome, welcome. So, how are you all? You don't have to answer, but maybe with a facial expression. Yeah, it's hard times for people who care, isn't it? But what's the alternative, right? The alternative is worse, I think, because caring makes us human, but caring is definitely vulnerable and risky and challenging. So we're going to work around the heart for this class, but it's not going to be like open your heart, open your heart. It's more like the image that I have for you, like to plant at the beginning here is it's less about opening the heart and more like giving it a chair to sit down in. That's kind of the idea. And so we'll start in a child's pose, and it can be any variation that you might like, but thinking knees a little wide, that your chest could really have some room to sink down between your thighs. If you wanted to slide some props underneath you, you're, of course, very welcome to do so. We're going to spend about 5 minutes here, and you've got as long as you need to get this set up for yourself to make think about like a burrow, like making a burrow for yourself that your soft animal body can climb into. Yeah. Wide knees, heavy torso. Slow breathing. Slow breathing as if you're washing the heart and the tissues all around it, and the lungs that hug your heart. Wash it all with your breath. And if you're feeling a lot these days as the world keeps coming at us, um, that sensitivity is real. It's neurologically very real. So you know, physiologically, our heart and our lungs, they're wrapped in really nerve rich tissue. And that tissue is closely tied to the vagus nerve, right? The main nerve that monitors our stress and governs our relaxation response. So it's a sensory organ, the heart. They think that maybe somewhere in the range of 40,000 neurons live in and around this incredible heart of yours. They call it the intrinsic cardiac nervous system. Can you sink a little deeper on your out breath? So the brain is sending more, or the heart is sending more information to the brain than vice versa. More messages are going up than down. So, in other words, the heart is constantly reporting on the state of things. And, sometimes the state of things is shaky. But movement, which we're about to do, which we are doing, it changes those reports. When your physical heart space softens, the nervous system often follows. When the heart starts to send calm, steady signals upwards, the brain interprets the world as being a little safer, a little more manageable. Can you breathe into all of that lovely fabric of the heart, the lungs, and the space around it in a soft, gentle, and steady way to soothe the tissues, to soothe the nervous system. also just a reminder that the heart is not fragile. It's muscular. It's muscular and it's relentless, right? It just keeps going. It keeps working even when the conditions aren't great. The heart is resilient. We'll spend one more minute here, gradually letting the weave of the body fabric loosen. The weave slowly loosens. Breath can start to seep between layers, ungluing what's been stuck together. Now, when you move, can you do so with an unhurried sort of reverence as you begin to come out of the shape and allow the body to reorganize itself? And coming out of this pose, it might look like hands and knees. It might look like coming to a seat or lying down. It might look like a downward dog, even. There's no rules here about how to reorganize yourself. But really, the only rule, if there was, is to just move with great care and tenderness. And we will head out onto all fours soon. You don't have to rush there. But when you get there, feeling hands, shins, tops of feet on the earth, and then begin to move your spine, cat and cow. You can start real slow and simple, feeling the beautiful curves and arcs of your bones. And physiologically, here, when we flex and extend the spine, we change the pressure around the spinal column and the spinal cord. We hydrate and refresh the tissue and the nerves. Imagine that everything around your heart, your spine, being refreshed as you move slowly. And notice how the front and back of the heart take turns here. Nothing stays open all the time. Nothing should. We're going to make this a little bit bigger. Just feel into it. See how it feels for you to shift back towards a child's pose a little bit as you round. And then to shift forward into just whatever sort of gentle kind of soft cobra-y like back bend feels good. It just doesn't, just take just what you need. It doesn't have to be huge. Just flowing without force here, shifting forward and back, starting to massage the spine, the muscles of the back, belly, And then we're going to take it all the way onto the front of the body. So eventually you can shift forward and just kind of drip your whole self down onto the earth. And when you get there, just resting for a second, not doing anything, but just feeling the weight of your body resting on the earth. How your weight disperses and the ground rises to meet you. We'll do a stretch of the chest here, sometimes called broken wing, this one. So any arm, it doesn't matter which arm, you can stick it out to the side. Like I've got my right one stuck out to the side, so then I put my left palm next to my chest on the left side. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes you feel it in the front of that shoulder and upper chest, and you're good there. But if you want a little more sensation, you can try pushing with the hand of the bent arm just over onto your side. And maybe that's enough. Or maybe you want to step the top foot behind you. If you want to put a pillow or a block under your head for support, that's a nice idea too. So make this shape work for you. We'll be here for about 3 minutes, this one, not quite 5. So it's not that long. Let your breath warm your bones and let your nervous system downshift. Give it permission to downshift. And give your nervous system permission to trust the quiet. Your heart wrapped in fascia. And when we compress or soften or stretch the chest, the shoulders, all the area around it, the heart responds, it adjusts its rhythm. And that adjustment in rhythm, it feeds back into the nervous system. It changes how that fascial web conducts information. So yin yoga in general, doesn't necessarily open the heart, but it shifts the environment around it. In these last moments here, just check for where you might be bracing around the heart or anywhere. And if there is bracing, can it soften by a few degrees? Okay, let's come out of that one. And you can rest. We're going to stay on our front side for a couple more shapes. So as you come out, you can rest. Maybe you cactus your arms and turn your head, or maybe your shoulder really wants some relief. So you slide your arms down by your side with the palms facing up. This is your time to listen, to allow the breath to move through the spaces you just opened. This is your body speaking in its quietest language. And then a Sphinx pose, little interlude before we do the other side of the wing. And so for Sphinx, you're still on your front side. You can start to gather the arms in underneath your shoulders. And so many options for this. If it feels like a lot, move the arms further away. Make the back bend a little more gentle. Or you can bring them in. You can even put them on something if you want more sensation. You can always add a bolster, block, something underneath your arms if you want to make a bigger back bend. So you got lots of options. So you can even, this is an old favorite here, to bring a bolster on top of the forearms and then rest the forehead on it. You can put blocks under your head or nothing. Take as long as you need to get organized, any amount of snuggling, wobbling, shifting until you feel like you can really sink into the pose. Mm-hmm. And with the breath pattern here, it's nice to think not so much about breathing up into the heart, it's about widening across the chest. So let each inhale open and widen you as opposed to efforting upward. You breathe into your rib cage here as if it's been wrapped too tightly for too long, and it finally has permission to sigh. In this position, the heart is forward, but it's not thrown open. And if you need to even soften it into your chest a little more, you can. Been thinking about like how you care about the world and your fellow humans, that you might feel like you have to be alert and like always be caring, right? Always be doing something. But everything has its rhythm. And there's a time to go hard, and then there's a time to back off. Sometimes you're holding it, and sometimes you put it down and somebody else picks it up for you. And so being really careful about knowing when it's time, when the rhythm is saying it's time to back off, to take care. In the last minute here, you need to make any little adjustments, you're always welcome to. And then really feeling how each inhalation softens the edges, and each exhale widens you on the inside. So transitioning out of this one, really honor the body's longing for gentleness as you make your way out and either into a rest on your front side or any gentle movement that allows for that sense of recovering, refreshing, and settling. Your breath expanding into every corner of your body. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about the kidneys and how the adrenals sit on top of the kidneys at either side of the low back, and how they're constantly pumping out adrenaline and cortisol. And when you soften the back of your body, you soften the kidneys. When you soften the back of your body, you allow the adrenals to quiet. So important right now. Let's take the wing on the other side. So whichever arm you didn't do, stick it out to the side. And I didn't mention this last time, but if you crawl your hand a little further away from the center of your body, you get more sensation. So you can sort of change this, modify it in all kinds of different ways of moving the arm, a little north or a little south or a little further away or a little closer. So go ahead and take the wing on the other side. Same idea. You can check in because maybe on this side it's a little more tender. Who knows? Or maybe it's not. You just feel into it slowly. First, the arm stretches, and then maybe you roll to the side, and then maybe you step the foot. Let your breath warm your bones. Let it warm the bones of your ribs, shoulders, collarbones. And in this pose, I often can get sort of caught up in the stretching of it. And I have to remind myself, let the stretching turn into listening. Take one or two more breaths here, and can you stretch them out gently? Longest inhale of the day so far, and the fullest exhale of the day so far. Yeah, and then we'll come out, and same as the other side, you can rest with your arms in a cactus or on down by your side. We are going to head onto our backs for the next shape. And so if you felt like you want to just roll right onto your back now and rest, you could definitely do that. Resting in the palm of the earth. You're going to take a couple of bananas as our next two shapes. And so, banana, if you like props for banana, there's all kinds of fun ways to use them. And it's fun if you don't have a bolster, a pillow is a great substitute. So you can go, we're going to do both sides, one and then the other. So, whichever side you want to go to, it starts with a big long stretch, and the arms can reach overhead. And not everybody's shoulders love this. So, if you need to release the arms down, that's totally fine. And then you're sliding one leg over just maybe 6 or 8 inches. And the other ankle can be next to it, hook on top of it, or even hook underneath it. And then you scoot your rib cage, shoulders, head, and whole upper body over in that same direction to make a lovely soft curve. I just love a bolster leaning against the outer hip to just give it a little weight and earthiness because it tends to want to peel up off the ground. You can put a pillow or bolster above you if the floor feels very far away and your shoulders are stretching a little more than you'd like. You can place your arms on a pillow or bolster above your head. Lots of options. You can put a blanket over your ankles, can be nice weight, and then you don't feel like you have to hold the leg so much if you have a blanket on your feet or ankles. Yeah. And then your job is just to let everything drip towards the ground. Every cell, every drop of fluid, every thread, every silky spider web thread of fascia sinking down towards the earth. Feel how your heart rests against your spine here. Let your spine hold your heart. How beautiful that strength and tenderness live so close to each other. So in this pose, you're working the long lines of fascia that connect your shoulders to your hips. And this is the part of your body that holds you steady when life wants to push you sideways, which it tends to do. And so those do a lot of work, those tissues. Breathe into them with a great big thank you and let them exhale, and everything sinks a little further down. Is, I get this email I think it's weekly, I'm not even sure. Woman, Lisa Oliveira, and just a blog that she writes, and I love it. And wanted to share a little bit of it with you. It's not much, but if you want to tune me out, you of course can. But she says, I want to tell you, this was from this week. She says, I want to tell you, I'm afraid too. And I want to tell you there are anchors everywhere, and we can turn toward them when the jumble of it all feels like too much, when we aren't sure what to do, when we feel like we might burst with sorrow. I want to tell you how astonished I am every time I remember the goodness and the beauty and the sweetness of this world haven't been snuffed out by the hatred. That beauty is sturdy and steady. That kindness is plentiful. That aliveness is bursting forth even now. There are roots just about to shoot through the concrete that looks lifeless. That it's okay to be terrified, and it's okay to forget hope until some small act of healing reminds you that it too is still here. That there are people everywhere holding up what you need to set down for a moment, and that you're probably holding more than you know. And that, like Rumi said, the heart that breaks open can contain the whole universe. So, coming out of this long side bend, I suggest moving very slowly. Yeah, side bends are a lot. So feeling the gentle, the vulnerability of the body, feeling what areas are talking to you the most, the loudest. Feeling maybe a lovely buzz or vibration or warmth in places where now the fluids and the energy gets to rush through again. Sometimes it's nice to hug your knees in. I love sometimes a couple of gentle flowing bridges after a banana. Feels sort of like we're reorganizing just to let the hips rise up and then float back down a couple of times. So lots of options, or you can always just be still. When the internal weather gets quiet, when you feel settled, you can make your way over to the other side of that same pose, banana, taking props with you if you use them, finding that lovely crescent moon curve from feet to crown to hands. But mostly this is about the spine. Let your heart soften into your chest. Let it rest on the sturdy spine below it. Noticing where there might be any resistance in the form of bracing or contracting. And invite anything that's willing to loosen to do so. Threads unraveling, unbraiding. The fabric of you, the weave of the fabric loosening, that it's permeable. The breath can permeate every surface inside you, every layer. Notice how the body opens when it's held. And as you're held, by the earth. Let each breath sink you closer to the ground, closer to the deep, dark, rich mineral layers of the earth. Spend about half a minute more here, dissolving into stillness. Carry that stillness with you as you transition, coming out of your banana to rest or to gently move. A couple of options for what's going to be our final shape here. Either a supported snail or a caterpillar, and I'll show you both. So a snail is like a plow. It's, you can do it unsupported, that's totally fine as well, but it's really nice to have a pillow or a block or something underneath your pelvis that you can just let the legs kind of just drape over you towards your head. Arms can be anywhere you like. I like to wrap them around the backs of my legs. You can hold your feet, you can have them down by your side. So other option, a little bit of a gentler perhaps option, is to be right side up as opposed to upside down. I love a bolster under my knees here to take a rounded forward bend with the legs long, a caterpillar. So you don't need props. You could do it with your legs straight out in front of you. I always like to give them a little shake just as a reminder that we're not squeezing muscle here. We're just letting it all fall off the bone. And then it's a very sweet, slow, rounded pour of the upper body over the legs. You could have blocks under your hands. You could have a bolster to lean your head on or to lay on. Many, many options. And of course, it's totally okay to change your mind if you choose one variation and decide you want a different one. Working all around the heart. We did the front and the sides, and now the back. Your fascia loves time and gentleness and curiosity. And it's shy, responds to kindness. When we rush, it resists. Notice anywhere that you might over effort. Yeah. Anywhere you might be able to soften, do a little less. We'll take one more minute here. If you are in one variation and you feel like you want to change, you could switch it now, or you can stay right where you are. You come out of this shape, come out slowly. Pay attention to every little sensation your body offers you. Right? The body gives sensation and we give attention back. And just check in with yourself. Do you need anything before we rest? Do you need any little wiggle or stretch, a twist, or anything at all? You've got a minute. And then we will head into Shavasana. No hurry, but when you get there, you got some time to rest. Really important time to let the body rebalance. The blood pressure, the hormones, all of it sort of settles in Shavasana. Yeah, I can gather cozy things, props, make a little nest for yourself. Even if you don't use props, think about it as a sweet little nest that you snuggle into, your burrow. And as you lay your body down, allow sensation to dissolve into stillness. And that stillness to dissolve into you. Let the breath come in and bring a little shimmer to your inner body, a little sparkle to the bones, as if the breath is lighting up the constellations of your bones, your organs, your muscles. You can start to meander your way up to sitting as slowly as you want to go. And if you want to stay in Shavasana, please do. If you come up, when you come up, you can take a palm over your heart and the other one on top of that. Feeling the heart resting in its little chair that you made for it. And remembering that caring is what makes us human. So don't stop, okay? Because the alternative, it's not good. So let's finish with an Om. Om. Thank you, friends. Thank you so much. Thank you for caring.